What's up, guys? I Fix It in Your Face. Don't forget, I have a Facebook that you guys can join if you have questions about anything in the video or anything in regards to anything motorcycle, scooter, fix-it stuff. Join my Facebook. It's an easy way to get in contact with me and get you the help you need. Don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, all that good stuff, man. I make these videos for you guys. I don't make them for me. You can help me by dropping a subscription. Join the Facebook. I'm telling you, man, join the Facebook. If you're trying to get in contact with me, it's the easiest way to do it. Okay? Don't forget, everything you need is in the description below of the video. Let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to talk about this because I told you guys I was going to be designing my own constant velocity airbox for the Ninja 250R, and the reason for that is I still wanted to run pod filters, but if you guys know about CV carbs, you have to understand constant velocity and how it works. You can still run pod filters, but you have to have contained air. There can't be air blasting through these, around them. They can't be blasting around them. And so when you're riding, if you don't have a case around them, what ends up happening is all the airflow gets sucked past the CVKs, and then your bike ends up running like shit. So what you do is you can take, this is an old Fram oil container, just to give you guys an idea. Well, here, I'll just show you the top of it. There you go. It's a Fram 4 or 5 quart oil container. What you do is you can cut it in half and then measure the back where your carbs go, as you can see, and cut the precision holes and then flop your old intake boots through it, and then you can put your pod filters inside of this. And then when you want to control the amount of airflow going into it, you take your Gorilla Tape in this case and you tape across until you have a small slot opening right over here. This allows you to control how much air the bike is getting. So the more you cut out, but it's essentially what you're trying to do is keep wind from getting around, like just blasting past the pod filters, right? So you're creating another airbox like the one that came off, but you're stopping all that airflow around it. You just want air kind of just sitting there being sucked in as necessary, not blasting around the pod filters, because then your bike will run like shit. The reason I decided to do this is because after I saw how much work it was to work on the carbs, you have to tear the entire back of the bike apart to get your airbox off. That means the tires coming off, all the plastics, 90% of this, all coming off. Now I've got it so that I can just pull this tank up, take this bar out of here, and I can slide the airbox in and out as I see fit, just by tightening it. But I wanted to, before I tape this off, because this isn't the first bike I've done this for, I wanted to show you guys how I've done this, right? It's literally that simple. If you want to see, here, I'll put it on the measuring so you can see exactly how much of the Fram container you actually need from the bottom of it. So there's the bottom. So you're looking at about, yeah, just say six and a half to 6 3/4 of the container. You don't need all that, but you do want to create some space from the pod filters up, because you're going to have a small opening right here. And if you don't feel comfortable with this opening, you want to get the air channeled further away, your old airbox has a tube on it that slides into the side. You can actually fit that tube on there, which is probably what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to put that tube on there and glue it around here and get a good seal going around the tube, right? And then I'll tape around that. That way I know I have the exact amount of air the bike was specified for, okay, going into the bike. So there's a little tiny like square piece that kind of inserts up into here. I don't know if you can see the space for it, but it goes right back into here, right? And that's where it pulls the air from, is in that last little spot right there, if I can see it. Nope, I can't show it to you. Kind of, yeah. Anyways, it went right over there. That goes on that specific spot. And so what I might do is put that in there and then glue around it and then tape it. That way it's pulling air coming up and in, right? As opposed to being near the back. But I'll decide that as I go. It's all going to be done with tuning. So right now, I'm just going to tape the end of this and put it back together. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's really easy to do this. You want to build a filter system that's easy to come out and easy to put back in. Like I really will never understand why Kawasaki did things the way they did with this bike. It's very frustrating. It's just like this. If you want to remove this from the Ninja 500R, you have to fucking take all the side panels, everything just to get the airbox out. It's like, it's the stupidest fucking design I've ever seen. However, this is not my bike. I mean, it is my bike. I'm going to sell it though, so I want it to be in working condition. So when I go to pull the carbs on this, I have to do that entire job. I bought that for the girlfriend, so I'm designing my own air filter because I know that I'm going to be the one working on this in the future, and I want a simple system to be able to pull the carbs and pop them back on easily without having to disassemble 90% of the rear of the bike to do it. So that's why I'm building my own filter system for it. So as you guys can see, it's very easy to do. Control your airflow, get yourself some good Gorilla Tape, control your airflow by putting the tape down, make sure that it's all sealed well, make sure you're pushing the pieces against each other, and then you're putting a seal around that, and then you can take a couple pieces and go this way to make sure you have a good attachment. Leave a little opening here on the end. This is what's going to be controlling your airflow coming in. So air can blow past it, but now it's going to be sucked into that hole, and that's what we're looking for. We want it to pull air in here, right? That's what we're aiming for. We want to pull air in, right? From one specific area, pull air in. Now, this was from the old Airbox. This was the amount of air that was being let into the bike. This is where the intake was. This is where it was sucking air. And that would have been mounted on the right side of the filter. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stick this in until it makes contact with the bottom of the cone filter. And then I'm going to measure it, the pod filter, and then I'm going to measure it right there. I'm going to chop that off. So all that excess is getting chopped off, and then this piece is being pushed in and mounted right there, and then I'm going to glue it to this wall inside here to make sure that it doesn't pop off. Then I'm going to tape around it. That way I know I have the correct amount of air going into this bike. Now some of you are going to say, well, how do you get into it? Like, if you got to clean the filter, how are you supposed to clean the filter? Yeah, you're going to cut this off. This is still going to be mounted in there. All you have to do is cut it, clean it, put a new taping job on it, and you're done. Like, don't overthink this, right? You can do this a ton of times, and it will not ruin your homemade airbox. You'll sell the bike well before you end up having to clean the air filter again and again, unless you're riding on a dirt road. That's on you. Don't do this, right? But the average bike should be able to go a couple years without needing the air filters cleaned. As long as you're not driving crazy, you shouldn't have an issue. Just remember to oil your pod filters before you stick them in there. Okay? So I'm going to chop this. I'm going to mount it in there. And this airbox is getting shoved back in that bike, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And there you go. Constant velocity airbox. Ready to rip, Chip. Go back in the bike. It's beautiful, I know. You don't have to tell me. Simple, easy, saves yourself a lot of time and work and effort. Now it has the proper amount of air going into the bike like it should. Ready to go. Boom, let's pop it in. So there you go. If you want to see what it looks like when you're done, that's what it looks like now. It's got a good seal all the way across. Everything is sealed up. When I'm ready, I just take those two screws out. It just pops off, turns sideways, and I pull it straight out. I don't have to deal with anything now. No craziness. It sits right where it should. It's got a little bounce and flex to it. That's where the air is coming in at. So it's got a nice little guard shield right here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. If you guys are wondering, that's the easiest way to make a constant velocity pod filter setup. And you can see it just fits right on there easily. Everything's good to go. That's pretty much all she wrote, man. I don't know how much gas is in it, but yeah, not a lot. There we go. There you go. You can hear it sucking right here now. Hear it? And let me close off this vacuum line. Love it. Love it. Easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright, there you go. you go, all put back together. That's what it looks like. Simple, tons of space. Now it's super easy to pull it, put it back in. I know it's getting the proper amount of air just like it normally was. And yeah, I still have my pod filter operation. Sorry, I just wiped it down because I had my hands all over it. Still waiting on the gas tank lid, but I'm about to go take it for a cruise. Seems to be running good. I'll make sure everything's gravy after that little bit of work. And that's how you build a Fram pod filter setup for a CVK carb for constant velocity. You're welcome.
You call it a hobby, I call it a way of life. No way that you can stop me. You know that I've been training, right? The more you try to block me, the more that I control the fight. And now you on the ropes, now you on the ropes. What you gon' do? Quitting's not an option. That voice in your head that keeps telling you you got this, slide to you. And now everybody's watching. You should've worked a little harder, cause man, your punches are garbage. I dream